Your boss just criticized your work in front of the entire team. Your heart races. Your face flushes. Every muscle in your body tenses as anger bubbles up inside you. You want to defend yourself, to lash out, to prove them wrong. But then, you pause. You take a breath. You choose your response carefully. You remain calm, composed, and in complete control. What just happened? Did you suppress your emotions? Did you pretend everything was fine? No, you practiced something the ancient Stoics mastered over 2,000 years ago, philosophy so powerful that it's helped emperors, slaves, soldiers, and entrepreneurs maintain unshakable mental clarity in the face of chaos. I'm talking about Stoicism, and today I'm going to show you exactly how to use it to think clearly, act calmly, and stay in control no matter what life throws at you. By the end of this video, you'll have practical tools that you can use immediately to transform how you respond to stress, criticism, failure, and uncertainty. So if you're ready to take control of your mind, let's dive in. Section 1. The Foundations of Stoic Control. What is Stoicism? Before we get into the practical techniques, let's quickly understand what Stoicism actually is, because it's often misunderstood. Stoicism isn't about being emotionless or suppressing your feelings. It's not about becoming a robot or not caring about anything. Instead, Stoicism is an ancient Greek and Roman philosophy that teaches us how to maintain inner peace and make rational decisions regardless of external circumstances. The philosophy was founded around 300 BC by Zeno of Citium and was practiced by some of history's most influential figures. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who wrote the timeless Meditations while leading an empire. Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the most respected philosophers of his time. Seneca, a wealthy statesman and advisor who counseled emperors. These weren't just theoretical thinkers. They were people living real, often difficult lives who used Stoicism as a practical toolkit for daily challenges. And here's what makes Stoicism so relevant today. We live in a world of constant notifications, endless news cycles, social media comparisons, and unprecedented levels of stress and anxiety. Stoicism gives us a framework to navigate all of this with clarity and calm. The core principle, the dichotomy of control. The entire foundation of Stoic thinking rests on one simple but revolutionary idea that Epictetus taught. Some things are within our control and some things are not. Sounds obvious, right? But here's the problem. Most of us spend the majority of our mental energy worrying about, stressing over, and trying to control things that are completely outside our control. Let me break this down for you. Things you cannot control. Other people's opinions of you. The weather. The traffic. The economy. The past. Other people's actions and decisions. Your reputation. The future in its entirety. Things you can control. Your thoughts and judgments. Your actions and decisions. Your effort and attitude. How you respond to events. Your values and principles. Where you focus your attention. What you choose to care about. Think about your own life for a moment. How much energy are you wasting on things in that first list? Are you obsessing over what someone said about you? That's outside your control. Are you furious about being stuck in traffic? That's outside your control. Are you anxious about a meeting that hasn't happened yet? That's outside your control. The Stoics believe that suffering comes from trying to control what we cannot control and neglecting what we can control. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. This is the first key to thinking clearly. Recognize what you can and cannot control, and focus your energy exclusively on what's within your power. Here's a practical exercise you can do right now. Take out a piece of paper. Draw a line down the middle. On one side, Write down everything that's currently stressing you out. On the other side, honestly assess which of those things you can actually control. You'll likely find that most of your stress comes from things in the cannot control column. And that realization alone is liberating. When you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you free up enormous mental energy to focus on what actually matters: your choices, your responses, your character. Section 2. Thinking clearly: the Stoic mental framework. Separating facts from judgments. Now that we understand the foundation, let's talk about how Stoics achieve crystal clear thinking. Most people don't realize that they're not reacting to events themselves. They're reacting to their judgments about events. Epictetus said it perfectly. It's not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone cuts you off in traffic. Here's what actually happened. A car changed lanes in front of you. That's the objective fact. But here's what most people experience. That jerk just cut me off. He's so rude and inconsiderate. He could have caused an accident. People like him shouldn't be allowed to drive. See what happened? We went from a simple event to car changing lanes to entire story filled with judgments, assumptions, and emotional reactions. The Stoics train themselves to separate the event from their interpretation of the event. The Stoic practice objective reporting. When something happens, practice describing it in purely objective terms, like a scientist would. Instead of, "My boss humiliated me in the meeting," try, "My boss provided critical feedback on my project in front of colleagues." Instead of, "This weather is terrible," try, "It's raining today." Instead of, "He ignored my message, he must be mad at me," try, "He hasn't responded to my message yet." Do you see the difference? By removing the judgment and emotional interpretation, you immediately gain clarity and emotional distance. This doesn't mean the situation doesn't matter or that you shouldn't have feelings. It means you're seeing reality clearly before deciding how to respond. When you can describe what happened without adding your interpretation, you give yourself the space to choose a wise response rather than an automatic emotional reaction. The Stoic pause. Here's one of the most powerful Stoic techniques for clear thinking: the pause. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies your freedom and power. Most people react instantly. Something happens, and they immediately respond with anger, anxiety, or defensiveness. Stoics train themselves to pause. Here's how it works in practice. Step 1. Recognize the trigger. Something happens that normally would trigger an emotional reaction. Your body might tense up, your heart might race. These are signals. Step 2. Pause. Before you speak, before you act, before you even fully form a thought, pause. Take 3 deep breaths. Count to 5. Take a brief walk if possible. Step 3. Ask Stoic questions. What actually happened here? Objective facts only. What part of this can I control? Is my initial reaction helpful? What would the wisest version of me do right now? Will this matter in a year? In 5 years? Step 4. Choose your response. Now, with clarity and calm, decide how you want to respond. This pause might last 3 seconds or 3 hours, depending on the situation. The key is creating space between the event and your response. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, later echoed this Stoic principle. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Practice this pause in low-stakes situations first. Someone makes a minor criticism. Pause. You drop something? Pause. You receive unexpected news? Pause. Over time, this pause becomes automatic, giving you access to clear thinking even in high-pressure situations. Reframing. The Stoic perspective shift. The Stoics were masters at reframing situations to see them from different More empowering perspectives. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is one of the most famous Stoic principles, and it's incredibly practical. Every obstacle contains an opportunity. Every setback contains a lesson. Every challenge contains a chance to practice virtue. Let me show you how this works. Negative framing. I got rejected for the job. I'm a failure. I'll never find good work. Stoic reframing. I got rejected for one job. This eliminates a path that wasn't right for me and frees me to find a better fit. I can learn from the interview experience and improve my approach. This is an opportunity to practice resilience. Negative framing. My competitor just launched something similar to my idea. They're going to steal all my customers. Stoic reframing. My competitor validated that there's market demand for this solution. Their approach shows me what's possible and where I can differentiate. This is motivation to execute faster and better. Here's a powerful reframing exercise the Stoics used called negative visualization. Instead of being devastated when something goes wrong, the Stoics regularly imagine things going wrong before they happened. This isn't pessimism, it's preparation. By mentally rehearsing challenges, you 1. Reduce the shock when difficulties arise. 2. Appreciate what you have more deeply. 3. Prepare response strategies in advance. 4. Build resilience. For example, before an important meeting, a Stoic might think, "What if this goes poorly? How would I handle that? What's truly at stake here? If this doesn't work out, what would I do next?" By facing potential difficulties mentally, they lose their power to derail you emotionally. Practical reframing exercise. Take something that's currently bothering you. Write down 1. The negative interpretation you've been carrying. 2. 3 alternative ways to view this situation. 3. What opportunity or lesson this situation offers. 4. How this could benefit you in unexpected ways. Train your mind to automatically search for empowering perspectives, and you'll find that you maintain clarity even when circumstances seem challenging. Section 3. Acting calmly, Stoic emotional regulation. Understanding Stoic emotions. Let's address a huge misconception about Stoicism. People think Stoics don't have emotions. That's completely false. Stoics feel emotions just like everyone else. The difference is that they don't let emotions control their actions. The Stoics distinguished between initial feelings and sustained emotional reactions. Initial feelings, propassions, these are automatic physiological responses. Someone startles you and you jump. You hear bad news and your stomach drops. These are natural and unavoidable. Sustained emotions. These are the stories we tell ourselves that fuel and amplify those initial feelings. Someone startles you, and you spend the next hour raging about how they should have been more careful. You hear bad news, and you spiral into catastrophic thinking. Stoics don't try to eliminate the first type, they're human. But they train themselves not to fuel and amplify emotions through unchecked thoughts. Seneca explained it this way: we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Think about anxiety. The Stoics recognize that anxiety is almost always about imagined future scenarios, not present reality. When you're anxious, you're essentially creating a horror movie in your mind about things that haven't happened and may never happen. You're suffering in advance of any actual problem. The Stoic approach to emotions is not suppression, it's conscious processing. 1. Acknowledge the emotion without judgment. 2. Examine the thoughts creating the emotion. 3. Challenge irrational or unhelpful thoughts. 4. Choose a response aligned with your values. This is how you act calmly, not by forcing yourself to be calm, but by addressing the thinking that generates unproductive emotional states. The anger management system. Anger is one of the most destructive emotions, and the Stoics had very specific techniques for managing it. Seneca wrote an entire essay called On Anger, where he argued that anger is never justified because it clouds judgment and leads to actions we regret. Here's the Stoic anger management system. Technique 1. Delay. When you feel anger rising, Seneca recommended waiting. Don't speak, don't act, don't even decide how you feel yet. Count to 10 or 100, or walk away and revisit the situation tomorrow. The greatest remedy for anger is delay, Seneca wrote. The first blaze of anger is fierce. If it waits, it will subside. Almost every time you delay responding to anger, you'll find that the anger itself was disproportionate to the situation. Technique 2. Physical awareness. The Stoics taught students to observe the physical sensations of anger without acting on them. Notice your clenched jaw. Feel your racing heart. Observe your tense shoulders. By witnessing these sensations as a neutral observer, you create distance between the feeling and your actions. The anger becomes something you're experiencing rather than something you are. Technique 3. Consider consequences. Before acting on anger, the Stoics would visualize the likely outcomes. If you send that angry email, what happens next? If you yell at your colleague, what's the result? If you lash out at your partner, where does that lead? Usually, you'll realize that acting on anger creates more problems than it solves. Technique 4. Understand the other person. Marcus Aurelius practiced seeing situations from other perspectives. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. This isn't cynicism, it's preparation. By expecting that people will sometimes behave poorly, you're not shocked or derailed when they do. More importantly, the Stoics taught empathy for why people act as they do. That person who cut you off might be rushing to the hospital. Your colleague who snapped at you might be dealing with a personal crisis. When you understand that everyone is fighting their own battles, anger often transforms into compassion. Technique 5. Remember your own flaws. Seneca pointed out the hypocrisy in anger. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? When someone does something that unjay you, remember all the times you've done similar things. Remember your own mistakes, your own bad days, your own moments of thoughtlessness. This doesn't excuse poor behavior, but it does help you respond with wisdom rather than rage. Handling anxiety and worry. Anxiety might be the defining emotion of modern life. And fortunately, the Stoics had powerful tools for managing it. The core insight is this: anxiety is caused by trying to control what cannot be controlled and by living in an imagined future rather than the present moment. Here's the Stoic anti-anxiety framework. Strategy 1. Return to the present. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present. Most anxiety lives in the future. What if I fail? What if they don't like me? What if something goes wrong?" The Stoic practice is to bring your attention back to right now, this moment. Ask yourself, what problem do I actually have right now in this present moment? Usually, the answer is none. Right now, as you read this, you're probably safe, probably comfortable. The disasters you're worrying about exist only in your imagination. This doesn't mean don't plan for the future. It means don't suffer about imaginary future scenarios. Strategy 2. Premeditatio malorum, premeditation of adversity. This is the practice we touched on earlier mentally, rehearsing difficulties before they occur. Here's how to do it properly. 1. Identify something you're anxious about. 2. Imagine the worst realistic outcome, not catastrophic, but genuinely difficult. 3. Visualize yourself handling it with dignity and wisdom. 4. Recognize that you would survive and grow from it. 5. Return to the present with reduced anxiety. By facing your fears mentally, you rob them of their power. Strategy 3. The dichotomy of control applied to anxiety. Write down what you're anxious about, then honestly assess. What parts can I control? What parts cannot I control? For the parts you can control, make a plan and take action. Action is the antidote to anxiety. For the parts you cannot control, practice acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean liking the situation. It means acknowledging reality as it is and not adding suffering through resistance. Strategy 4. Scaling. When anxiety strikes, the Stoics would ask, will this matter in 5 years? Most things we worry about are forgotten within days or weeks. By seeing the current concern in the context of your entire life, you gain perspective. Strategy 5. Focus on process, not outcomes. You can't control whether you get the job, but you can control how well you prepare for the interview. You can't control whether your business succeeds, but you can control the effort and integrity you bring to it each day. By focusing on the process, the things within your control anxiety about outcomes naturally diminishes. Epictetus taught, make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. Section 4. Staying in control, building unshakable discipline. Morning and evening rituals. The Stoics understood that staying in control isn't about willpower. In the moment, it's about building systems and habits that set you up for success. 2 of the most powerful Stoic practices are morning and evening reflections. The Stoic morning ritual. Marcus Aurelius would start each day with a reflection to mentally prepare for the day ahead. Here's a modern version you can use. 1. Premeditation, 5 minutes. What challenges might I face today? How will I handle them with wisdom and virtue? What opportunities will I have to practice patience, courage, or discipline? 2. Intention setting, 2 minutes. What's the most important thing I can focus on today? What values will guide my decisions? Who am I choosing to be today? 3. Gratitude, 3 minutes. What am I grateful for? What do I have that I've been taken for granted? How can I appreciate the present moment? This 10-minute practice sets a foundation of clarity and purpose for your entire day. The Stoic evening ritual. Seneca recommended a daily examination each evening, asking, what bad habit have I cured today? What vice have I resisted? In what way am I better? Here's a structured evening reflection. 1. Review, 5 minutes. What went well today? What could I have handled better? Where did I let emotions control my actions? 2. Learning, 3 minutes. What did this day teach me? How can I improve tomorrow? What pattern do I notice in my behavior? 3. Preparation, 2 minutes. What's my intention for tomorrow? How will I handle any anticipated challenges? What's one thing I can do better? The key is honesty without self-judgment. This isn't about beating yourself up, it's about conscious improvement. These rituals create bookends to your day, ensuring you begin with intention and end with reflection. Over time, they build remarkable self-awareness and self-control, building voluntary discomfort. Here's one of the most counterintuitive Stoic practices. Deliberately choosing discomfort. The Stoics regularly practiced voluntary hardship, intentionally experiencing mild discomfort to build resilience and appreciate what they had. Seneca would sleep on the floor occasionally, eat simple meals, and wear cheap clothing not because he had to, but to prove to himself that he could. He wrote, set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, is this the condition that I feared? Why would anyone do this? Reason 1. Fear reduction. When you voluntarily experience the things you fear, whether it's discomfort, simplicity, or going without, those things lose their power over you. You realize, I was afraid of this, but I handled it. I can survive with less. I'm stronger than I thought. Reason 2. Appreciation amplification. When you've slept on the floor, your bed feels like luxury. When you've fasted, simple food tastes incredible. When you've practiced discipline, your comfort is earned, not taken for granted. Reason 3. Discipline development. Every time you choose discomfort when comfort is available, you strengthen your self-control. You prove to yourself that you can override impulses and choose according to your values. Modern applications. You don't need to sleep on the floor, though you could. Here are practical ways to incorporate voluntary discomfort. Take cold showers. Fast intermittently. Exercise when you don't feel like it. Have difficult conversations you've been avoiding. Work when you'd rather be distracted. Say no to immediate gratification. Practice silence instead of filling every moment with entertainment. Donate or give away things you're attached to. Wake up earlier than necessary. The point isn't suffering for its own sake. It's building confidence in your ability to handle discomfort, which means external circumstances have less power to disturb your peace. When you know you can handle discomfort, you're unshakable. The practice of memento mori. One of the most profound Stoic practices is memento mori, remember you must die. This might sound morbid, but it's actually one of the most life-affirming practices you can adopt. The Stoics kept the reality of death close to their awareness, not to be depressed, but to stay focused on what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." When you remember that your time is limited, you naturally 1. Stop sweating small stuff. That embarrassing moment? The minor criticism? The petty argument? When viewed against the backdrop of mortality, these things shrink to their appropriate size. 2. Prioritize what matters. If you knew you had 1 year left, would you spend it scrolling social media, holding grudges, or procrastinating on your dreams? Memento mori helps you live according to your actual priorities, not your distractions. 3. Appreciate the present. When you remember that everything is temporary, including you, each moment becomes more precious. The morning coffee, the conversation with your friend, the sunset, your health. These aren't guaranteed, they're gifts. 4. Act with courage. Fear of embarrassment, failure, or judgment diminishes when you remember that everyone involved will eventually be gone. The audience you're worried about impressing, they're temporary too. This gives you freedom to take meaningful risks and live authentically. How to practice memento mori. Start your day by acknowledging, this could be my last day. How do I want to live it? When making decisions, ask, if I only had a year left, would this matter? Regularly reflect on the impermanence of everything. Use death as a filter for what deserves your energy and attention. The paradox is that remembering death helps you live more fully. As Seneca said, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements if it were all well invested. Section 5. Practical Daily Application. The Stoic Decision-Making Framework. Let's bring all of this together into a practical framework you can use for any decision or challenge. When you're faced with a difficult situation, run through this Stoic checklist. Step 1. PAUSE. Before reacting, take 3 deep breaths. Create space between stimulus and response. Step 2. Identify what you can control. Write down or mentally note, what's within my control here? What's outside my control? Focus your energy exclusively on the first category. Step 3. Separate facts from judgments. What actually happened? Objective facts only. What am I telling myself about what happened? Interpretations and judgments. Challenge any unhelpful interpretations. Step 4. Consider perspectives. How would the wisest person I know handle this? Will this matter in 5 years? What opportunity does this situation contain? How could this make me stronger? Step 5. Align with values. What do my values call me to do here? What action would I be proud of later? Am I choosing my response or am I reacting automatically? Step 6. Act with virtue. Choose wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. Make your decision and commit to it fully. Step 7. Accept the outcome. Once you've acted with integrity, release attachment to outcomes you cannot control. This framework works for everything from minor annoyances to major life decisions. Building your personal Stoic practice. Stoicism isn't something you understand. Intellectually, it's something you practice daily. Here's how to build a sustainable Stoic practice. Week 1 to 2, Awareness. Simply notice when you're trying to control the uncontrollable. Don't try to change anything yet, just observe your patterns. Week 3 to 4, The Pause. Practice pausing before reacting, especially to minor irritations. Build a habit of creating space. Week 5 to 6, Morning Intention. Add a 5-minute morning reflection. Set intentions for how you'll handle the day. Week 7 to 8, Evening Review. Add a 5-minute evening reflection. Review your day with honest self-assessment. Week 9 to 10, Reframing. When something challenging happens, practice finding alternative perspectives and hidden opportunities. Week 11 to 12, Integration. By now, Stoic thinking should be becoming more automatic. Continue all practices and deepen whichever resonates most. Key resources: books to read, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, Letters from a Stoic by Seneca, Enchiridion by Epictetus, The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. Practical exercises. Keep a Stoic journal. Join a Stoic community or discussion group. Listen to Stoic podcasts. Follow Stoic teachers and thinkers. Remember, Stoicism is a practice, not perfection. You'll have days where you react emotionally, lose your cool, or forget the principles entirely. That's part of being human. The goal isn't never struggling, it's building the tools to navigate struggles with increasing wisdom and grace. As Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. We've covered a lot today, so let's quickly recap. To think clearly, separate facts from judgments. Focus only on what you can control. Practice the Stoic pause. Reframe obstacles as opportunities. To act calmly, understand that emotions don't have to control actions. Use delay as your greatest tool against anger. Return to the present moment to combat anxiety. Remember that you're reacting to interpretations, not events. To stay in control, build daily rituals of reflection. Practice voluntary discomfort. Remember your mortality to prioritize what matters. Use the Stoic decision-making framework. The ancient Stoics faced invasions, political upheaval, slavery, disease, and loss, yet they maintained inner peace and acted with wisdom. You face different challenges, but the principles remain the same. You have everything you need to think clearly, act calmly, and stay in control. The question is, will you practice? If you found value in this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content on philosophy, personal development, and practical wisdom for modern life. Drop a comment below and tell me, which Stoic practice are you going to start with? What's your biggest challenge when it comes to staying calm and in control? And if you want to go deeper, I've created a free Stoic practices checklist. You'll find the link in the description below. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius wrote, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Choose your thoughts wisely. Think clearly. Act calmly. Stay in control. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, practice well.